So, uh, where? Let me get my share screen going. One moment. Here we are. Alrighty. So, first things first. I'm gonna go over character creation and the mal. Uh, Biggest document you guys are gonna be leaning on are the allowed content and the player guidelines. It has the full information all here. I know it is a lot, but it is very helpful information. Um, the tiers are slightly different, so you'll make sure you're taking a look at those. You'll see those in all the game ads that are popping up on the server um, for as in like what tier of play it's intended to be in. The general requirements of like the character must be a member of the guild, must be at least a young adult for their species, stuff like that. All the things that are in general permitted and stuff are handled in the player guidelines. Um, the allowed content document has basically everything you will ever need when it comes to is this allowed or not. The answer to 99% of those questions is check the allowed content. Has everything on here uh, from races, classes, backgrounds, languages, all the way down to every single magic item that is available to everybody on the server. There are some homebrew ones that DMs can drop, but that is a significantly less frequent thing. Um, in general, first thing is just consider whether you're playing 2014 or 2024. For 2024 characters, if a 2024 version of the thing you're using exists, you have to use the 2024 version if it's allowable on the server. If there is no 2024 version of that thing, you can use the 2014. So, for example, you wanted to play a Twilight Cleric, you would play a 2024 Cleric with the 2014 Twilight Domain. Um, but you couldn't play like a 2024 cleric with the 2014 life domain because there is a 2024 life domain, if that makes sense. Um, Very similar thing in reverse for 2014. If you're playing 2014, you did not have access to anything that is 2024 without a request or without it being given by a DM. Items are the big exception. Those mostly just function how based on what system the DM is using, which will be uh, posted in the listing. Um, you start at 3 or 5 here, your choice. You can start lower, but that would require a request through the player requests, which we will get to later. Um, you can use pretty much any sheet system that you like. However, you are required to maintain your extended master adventure log, which is all of this fun stuff, where you log all of your adventures, your trades, your downtime, everything you're doing with those. Um, I do personally recommend you keep at least one sheet for each character in either D&D Beyond or Roll20, simply because that is what 95% of DMs require. And if the goal of being here is to play more D&D, cutting yourself off from that amount of breadth is going to significantly decrease the amount of games you're going to be able to get into. Um, Aside from that, when you are creating your character, if you are in 2014, you take the items as given. We do not roll for gold. We do not roll for stats. Essentially, anything that you could re-roll over and over and over, and just wait until you get like an optimal spread is not permitted. Uh, if you are using 2024, however, the classes all give a baseline amount of gold that you can take. So, for example, fighters, you can take the items that they give you to start out with as starting gear, or you can take 155 gold. Um, uh, where was I going with that? Um, Yes. When you have figured out what you are snagging, you're going to head on down to the logs section of the server. You're going to head over to downtime logs, and you're going to make a quick log noting that you are starting out. It is at Discord handle as character name with level in parentheses, starts with X amount of gold, listing where it's from, and then listing all the stuff you're getting from it, and all the stuff you're getting from your class. Um, Up until you do that log, you are, or really any log, you're able to change your character around as much as you want because they functionally don't exist. Once you have made some kind of log, if you want to change anything about the character, go through the character rework log channel. There's a full template in the pinned comments there to help you guys walk through it. Plus, there's hundreds of previous examples to look at ones that were approved. Um, the cost for all that stuff is, as expected, found in the allowed content document. We'll go over that in more depth later. Um, but in general, once you have a log for the character on the character exists, and any changes need to be handled with a rework log. But up until you hit level 6 and have a log at level 6, you are able to rework for free. Um, and yeah, uh, as a general thing, uh, in terms of rules, etiquette, stuff like that, uh, in general, the biggest rule here: don't be a dick. We're all here to have a good time. Don't step on anyone else's toes. Don't let anyone else step on yours. We're here to have a good time at the end of the day, and that is important to keep in mind. When when you are applying to games, it is important to remember that unfortunately there is a significant disparity between the number of DMs we have on the server and the number of active players we have on the server. The average session listing gets 2 to 5 times the number of players applying for the game as the DM is willing to take players. So unfortunately, just statistically, you're not going to get into every game, and it's important to recognize that that is not like a personal attack. It is unfortunately just luck of the draw because there is not much you can do about that. Um, Once you get your foot in the door and meet a couple DMs, meet some other players, you can form more cohesive groups if you would like. Those tend to see some decent success. Um, and yeah, but whether you get into a game or you don't, it is important to remain respectful. When you get into a game, do not taunt the people that got in or that didn't get in. And when you don't get in, please do not attack those that did or the DM. It just makes a hostile environment, makes it towards where people are not going to have fun running games, not going to have as much fun playing. And when people don't have as much fun doing this stuff, D&D doesn't get played. In terms of general rules, in general, when in doubt, ask a question in the role chats. So, for example, you have a question about how a specific interaction works. Hop on up to rules discussion. Pop a question in there. You got a question about how some of your forms are done or being handled. You hop over to Auditor's Corner. Same thing with PR Couch. Same thing with lore discussion. Uh, Questions you guys have, we would rather answer them in advance than deal with it once it's an issue. Um, there's nothing wrong with asking questions so long as you are remaining respectful, and we are more than happy to help out. That's why we're all on staff. Um, some of the more specifics that people tend to have a bit more trouble with: trading and downtime. In the revered allowed content document, you will find a tab labeled downtime. This is a full list of basically every single thing you can do while not actively in a session, with the exception of text RP. Um, Everything in here has all of the information you will literally ever need. Um, has reworks, has spellcasting services, trading, training, travel, repair, spell stuff, crafting, reworks, bastions, everything. Um, in essence, uh, if it is on uh, if it is on here with specifics and it doesn't specify elsewhere that there's more information, then you are good just reading that one area. If it specifies that is not what I wanted. If it specifies that there are some exceptions, so for example, let me expand this real quick. Uh, Certain magic items cost more DTP than what is listed to craft. Be sure to check an item's notes in loot. Um, that is a blanket disclaimer that is listed in there to notate that not all things will follow the format listed, simply because there is so much stuff. We try to make generalized rules to make general like wavelength for people to calibrate to, and then the full details for this, at least in particular, are on the loot. Uh, Good a time as any to go into crafting. On the server, we used modified crafting rules from 2024 DMG. Uh, the TLDR is that crafting requires proficiency in the Arcana skill, proficiency with the required tool for the item that we'll go into a little bit later, the required bastion facility to craft the item, which we'll also go into later, and if the item allows you to cast any spells, you must have the ability to cast those spells natively. Once you hit level 9 as a character, not necessarily in any specific class, while you have a bastion, you can have the hirelings at your bastion craft um, certain items for you as a bastion turn. We'll go into those a little bit more later. So, for example, let me find something random that I have done before. Yeah, where's just the plus ones? Those are nice and easy. So one of the more common ones that gets requested is +1 weapon. You can see that it is a tier 1 permanent, which means that it is craftable. On the server currently, craftable items are tier 1 and below. Um, you can see that the base cost is listed, the crafting cost is listed, and the tool requirement is listed. The base cost of an item in the loot tab does not mean that you can buy it from an NPC. The only items you can buy from the NPC as like a, hey, start of a session, I forgot I don't have any healing potions. Can I run to a vendor real quick? Or stuff at character creation can be found on the equipment tab. Basically everything on here can be purchased at character creation. There are certain ones that specify that they cannot. For example, Potion of Greater Healing can only be acquired from an adventure or crafted. Very clear specifies that it can't be bought. That is a common source of confusion. Base cost does not mean you can just buy one. It's a point of reference for how much stuff normally costs. The economy on the server has changed rather significantly, honestly, numerous times, and it's gone through ups and downs in terms of how much stuff costs, even since I've been here, which has not been all that long. But if we wanted to, say, craft a +1 weapon, it would require 200 GP to craft, plus the cost of the weapon. So if we wanted to craft, say, greatsword, greatsword cost is 50 gold pieces. So it would cost 250 there. The 10 DTP, you would add, depending on where your bastion is, you would add either 3 or 21, as specified down here. that this is mostly based on the generalized. You have a 75% chance of finding the materials required to craft an item in a city of this size. You have a, I forget what the percent chance is um, for smaller areas, but that is what that DTP cost is used to uh, convey. Um, and you require the smithy. In terms of the tool, if we are crafting a greatsword, we require some smith's tools. So, if we have a character that wants to make one of these, they need to have a bastion with a smithy. They need to have proficiency in Arcana, and they need to have proficiency with smith's tools. Alternatively, if they are level 9, since this is just a standard +1 weapon and does not allow the casting of spells, it can be crafted by the hireling at the bastion. Um, Doing so does require a bastion turn. Taking bastion turn takes a flat 7 DTP, and you issue 1 order to each of your facilities. So, for example, let me actually just grab one of my bastion turns. Uh, right, one moment. Uh, there we are. All right, DTP. Here we are. So right here, I'm going to pop a link in the uh, Thomas text lobby. If you guys want to take a look at that real quick. In there, we have a bastion turn that I took. This is for my level 13 character, which means they can have up to um, 5 special facilities in the bastion. She issued a different order to each. I didn't need anything from my smithy or my menagerie, so I issued no order. Uh, Issued the craft with the workshop, the research with the trophy room, and the harvest poison with the greenhouse. Um, the 7 DTP that it costs to take a bastion turn is not in place of any of the resources required to craft any of the other items. It is in addition. So, for example, for this specific one, there was a person who wanted a set of boots of springing and striding. Those require cobbler's tools proficiency, which I do not have, but my workshop does have. So I needed to take a bastion turn to get it. Um, and that is the basics of that. The full details of what each Bastion room does is in the Bastions tab of the allowed content, where it will go over what level you need, any prerequisite that is required, the required GP and DTP to craft, as well as what items in general can be made, and any notes. So, for example, let's go with one of the common ones, Smithy. Um, Smithy is one of the more common ones. Weapons are cool, swords are great, magic swords even cooler. So that's most orders, honestly. Uh, for the craft magic item order, it must be level 9 or higher, uh, and it explains that it can be any of the tier 0 or tier 1 items uh, in the categories. We functionally ignore rarity here because, all due respect to WotC, uh, they were not in the right state of mind when they tiered some items, or when they ranked the rarity of some items. So it was re-tiered by our rules team um, to be more in line with how good something actually is. Um, the facilities hireling can craft the item for you, and it has all the specifications on there. Um, and yeah, that is Bastion turns. At about the halfway point of the general server side stuff, Gonna open it up to questions real quick. Anyone got anything for me?
Well, firstly, I think there's some people in here that haven't put their timing down yet. So if you came here at a certain time and you want DTP for your character, please go to Thomas lobby and put in the time that you came in, so we can like properly record your code block later.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have.
What's up,
What?
Les?
I was going to ask a question, but finish speaking on that issue
Yeah.
first.
I was
No,
just
no, that's
gonna
fine. That's enough.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, yeah, if you guys want DTP, it's one of the main resources we use on the server. Um, you are eligible for DTP on here for attending this. Just drop in your what time you got here, and whenever you wish to leave, just drop in that you are heading out. Don't worry about making a code block for this one. This is super simple. I just need how long you were here, and I will do the full setup myself because this is a super easy uh, log. Um, it is not required. I know in the previous ones that SB attended, she didn't take any DTP. But you guys feel free to drop into the channel titled 149 Thomas Text Lobby just when you are getting here, and I will get you DTP at the end of the workshop. And then Laz, you had a question?
So, to understand the crafting system of the server correctly,
Mhm.
what I understood was from what you said that you can craft starting at level 5 when you get your bastion if you
Mhm.
have the tools related to the item you are crafting as per the allowed content
Correct.
document. But when you get to level 9, you no longer need proficiency in the tools because you have a hireling in the service in your service of your bastion. Is this correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
So at level 5, you got to do it all yourself. At level 9, you're too rich and busy for that. You have people for that.
Mhm.
The exceptions are spellcasting stuff. So, for
Right.
example, enspelled weapons and armor and such cannot be crafted by our hireling. It requires you to be able to craft them yourself and to do so. Um,
Does this mean that you need to also be proficient in smiths or leatherworkers tools? Or no, even at level 9? You can, like, can you have
yeah,
the. Yes.
if it allows you to cast a spell, you have to do the full craft yourself. So you have to have
Interesting.
Arcana
Okay.
skill. You have to have Arcana skill. You have to have required tool, and you have to have required facility.
I was not aware. Understood.
For sure. Anyone else?
Does I have another question. Does
Go
this
for it.
apply to staves, such as you might craft a staff that could cast a spell, or a set of spells? Are they all
Yeah,
required? Are all the spells required to be known by you to craft the staff?
correct.
Okay.
I I don't really do crafting of enspelled stuff, because I am
All right.
a martial supremacist. Swords are cooler
I
than
feel that.
magic. I now will fight anyone on this. Um, but yes. Where is it? Yeah. Here it is. If a magic item can be used to cast spells, the spells must be among your spells prepared or spells known, depending on your class, in order to craft the item. You must be able to cast the spell, and you must provide the material components for each spell. If the material components are normally consumed, they are consumed for each spell when the item is completed.
Awesome. Thank you for letting me know.
No problem.
That is all my
Yeah,
questions.
it is a very dense cell in the document.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
I have one about the Mel
Yes.
things.
What's up?
Um, the whole character creation.
Mhm.
Uh, how do I like if I got some gold from my background
Mhm.
in character creation? Should I just put it in to the session logs as character creation?
That's
Yes.
exactly what you do. So,
Okay.
for example, uh, this is not what yours is. gonna look like. This is a character that I created at level 11 as part of our essentially DM battle pass, to encourage more people to become DMs and general stuff. But for example, for one, let me grab one of my level 3s that I started at. So here's my light cleric. She started a couple months ago. Character creation, put in the XP. Don't take my XP as gospel. I modified the XP formula to make it so that it started at 0 because, number one, I had a character starting at level 1, and it bugged me that they weren't all the same. And but yeah, in general, you don't want to mess with anything in these that came to you with a formula. The engineer team all got that all sorted out. It will all work so long as you do not touch it. It has been tested by a couple thousand people with anywhere from 1 to 40 to 50 characters. They do work. But you put in your XP. If you start at level 3, your baseline will be 0 here because the document will expect you to start with 900 experience, which is what is required to be level 3. You can put any GP gained in here. You can put your total there and then how much you spend in here, and it will like subtract it and do the math for you. I just, when I'm buying gear, keep track of it to make sure I don't go over the resources I have. So I just put it all in one cell right there. But so long as the math works out, the math works out. And then just put the items that you had that you got there, and you add it to your inventory on the side. Yeah.
And that's all inventory as well, like all the mundane stuff is.
Yeah. Let me pull up Launa. So this is all the random crap Launa has liberated from random places as she has gone throughout her time here. Yeah, anything that is an item you have or something you received from a session, a trade, or downtime is something that goes in the mal. This is essentially our way to validate that everything is going kosher. Not that we're like actively checking. We're not the IRS. We're not going to come to your house, bust down your door, or anything crazy like that. We operate off of trust here until given a reason not to. But it is our backup for if questions arise, we double check this and we answer the question.
All right, cool.
Alrighty. Anyone else got any other questions? Cool. Thank you for that segue as well. Next thing on the list is the MAL and the allowed content document in full. So when you get your MAL, it will probably not look like this. It will probably, let's see, do I have a blank one? I don't have a blank one. That is so weird. All right. It will look like this, but for all of your characters 1 through 15. And this will be the number 3. You can go over here, change the name in there. This cell, A2 to C2, is referenced right here. And so whatever you type in here will be updated over there. And that's how all of this stuff is updated so that you have all your information at a glance. For the purposes of trades, let me find one that, there we go, that's not overwhelming. For the purposes of trades, oh, I did one wrong. There we are. For the purposes of trades, you go ahead and you put in the information that is listed there. The items you traded are the stuff that you gave away. The items you received are anything you got from the other player. and the gold change is exactly what it says. If you got gold from it, you leave it positive. If you spent gold to get it, you leave it negative. Same thing with downtime. These sets are essentially where you log on the spreadsheet anything that was put into the downtime logs channel or the trade logs channel. Um, up a couple rows, we have trade listings and trade chat. That is where you can talk to other players to get cool shit. For example, what did I grab that was cool recently? I got back when I originally made this character, I was trying to make a dex-based paladin before I realized that that was not as fun as I thought it was, and I wanted to lean into charisma, but that's a different topic. So I grabbed from one of my buddies, Falcon, and his Battlemaster fighter, Dravoth. I grabbed some bracers of flying daggers, and so you log it as such, and anything that gets modified is represented over here. So your GP formula takes into account all the columns that specify GP. So it's adding all the GP gained, adding this, subtracting this. That's why these need to be specified to be negative. If you are sending gold out, same as this one, um, because they're not. There's nothing like filtering whether you were buying or purchasing in a trade log. It is literally just a sum function, because that's realistically all that's needed. So, for example, if I were to start today, average party level doesn't matter much. Experience gained. I'm going to put in 6,500. For you guys who should not be editing the XP formulas, you'll be putting in 5,600 because it will assume a 900 base. If you're starting at level 5, 5,600 experience gets you from level 3 to level 5. Gold pieces gained, screw it, 400. Nice and easy. DTP gained 0. Items, I'm just going to copy what I grabbed as low end. Boom. All right, my formatting is all messed up. Gold spent, let's say I spent like 250 gold pieces on all this gear. I don't remember what it actually was. But as you update it, you will see, oh, that's because I put it as negative. You will see that the total of the gold pieces gained column minus the gold spent column is represented over here. That's why the formulas just stay exactly as they are. That way, as you are updating stuff, you don't need to update it in 6 different locations. The formulas all do it for you. That is most of the Master Adventure log. You can add more sheets as you go. As you get close, I recommend just making a blank copy. That way you can copy and paste it over for future sheets. But that is not something most people run into for a while. The allowed content, as I went into briefly earlier, this is your one-stop shop for basically any "is this allowed on server" questions. Follows the same rules as I briefly went over for the differences between 2014 or 2024. Where if you're playing 2014, you don't have access to any of the stuff that is 2024. And if you're playing 2024, you got to use the most recent version of stuff. But it has everything that is listed. It has the source. Anytime you see HTA, it's not an official book. It's our Hawthorne Arcana. There are modifications under extras and rage advice that will answer a bunch of questions that you may have and give you an at-a-glance look. Customizing your backgrounds and origins for 2014 is permissible, with the exception that we require every character, regardless of version, and literally everything else must speak common. And custom lineage is a no-no. For 2024, same stuff with customizing your background. If you use D&D Beyond, I actually made a full template for D&D Beyond for use on the server. That includes all our expanded origin feats, everything fully customizable and all that, and it's all set up for you guys. We'll go over that a little bit later. But you can replace your ASIs as you wish to a +2/+1 or 3+1s. Choose an origin feat, 2 different skills, and a tool proficiency. Older backgrounds, you can use the older ones. If it doesn't give you a feat, you pick an origin feat, and you use your you get your ability score increases at character creation exclusively from the background. For example, if you were to pick a 2014 race that has not been reprinted yet, for example, Aarakocra, you can't get the +2/+1 from a 2024 background and a +2/+1 from your racials. You get it from one source, and that is dependent on which version you're at the end playing. There are some full specifications in much more eloquent wording that go over some specifics of what I had discussed. Feel free to peruse that at your own pace. It's all on the 2024 guidelines. That is that. Stuff with spells. This will have everything on there, and we'll have anything for Rage Advice, which is our server version of Sage Advice, has for notes and modifications of how things work on the server. For example, from Skag, Booming Blade does not have a cost requirement for the weapon. Spell's range is the weapon's reach, so you no longer have a glaive that can't Booming Blade 10 feet away, and the spell targets a creature within the weapon's reach, can be used with Warcaster, all that fun stuff. One thing to be careful of that I have seen most frequently on D&D Beyond, but occasionally on Roll20 for player questions. For example, on D&D Beyond, let me grab. Where is it? Let me just make someone. What classes get Elemental Man? I know Warlock does. Last time up. Let's get a 4. For example, Elemental Bane. It gives you a source Elemental Evil Player's Companion. That is not a source that is allowable on the server. However, there are some spells that it will unfortunately straight up give you a wrong answer. It will list a random source that it does come from, even if it was reprinted in a secondary source that is allowed. So there are some like Xanathar's spells that were reprints of previous versions that show up as, say, from Elemental Evil Player's Guide. Those spells are still allowable. They're just allowable using the version as written in Xanathar's for this specific example. Miscellaneous class features. We have all the stuff for fighting styles, artificer infusions, and eldritch identifications. The equipment tab. This is the tab where anything that you guys want to grab at character creation, you can grab, as we went over earlier. It'll have some specifications if it has any modifications. So, for example, a lot of Humblewood stuff was created with 2014 in mind primarily. So a lot of the Humblewood stuff have like weapon masteries listed as Rage Advice because we are a mixed format server. Downtime, we'll go into this in full. Constructing a bastion, it is one of the things that I recommend saving up for, both because it'll help you do things that are mechanically good, uh, and because it's just cool to have a place to come home to, rather than just the guild hall. But the Bastions use the rules for Bastions as described in the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide. You can also find it online. I believe Bastions are in the free rules. I'm not positive. It's been a while since I looked at them, but I'm pretty sure they're in there. There's also some modifications listed on the Bastions tab and on the player guidelines. When you are constructing a Bastion, the minimum requirements to construct one are that you are level 5, that you have two basic facilities, one cramped and one roomy, and two specialized facilities. With those restrictions, the minimum cost of a Bastion is 155 DTP and 3,500 gold. You can also construct a Bastion as a shared one. So, for example, let's say Ravenshade, my lovely assistant, and I were constructing a Bastion together. We would need each of us would need to contribute the entire cost to build at least one special facility. So long as we agree on a fair split and uh, we both submit the cost for one full facility, special facility, we're all set. So let's say, for example, Ravenshade has a lot of DTP, but not a lot of gold. And I'm sitting on a lot of gold, not a lot of DTP. We both put up the resources to make one specialized facility. And then let's just say, hypothetically, we're level 9, so we get 2 more special facilities, and we need 2 basics to construct the Bastion. I can say, hey, Raven, I can put up the full gold cost of the entire rest of the Bastion if you can do all the DTP. And so long as we come to an agreement and the total contribution of both of us adds up to what is necessary, you're all set. I do recommend the first time you're building a Bastion, popping by downtime planning, asking someone to take a look at it. Never hurts to ask, and it's in general just better practice to be like, hey, am I doing this right? So we can, number one, help prevent a mistake, and number two, clear up any errors in communication from the document to the players, because a lot of the stuff is worded the same across multiple areas. So if you're misunderstanding one area, you're probably misunderstanding a couple others. And if we can clarify the area that we know you're misunderstanding, it might help you understand the other stuff better. Taking the Bastion turn, we already went over that. Bastions themselves. Here is the pretty much all the information that you need. Most of the time when you're making a Bastion, you're wanting it at least partially for crafting. We went over the crafting stuff earlier. Each item will have a specific, either a single specific facility or a set of facilities that can craft it. Often similar ones are combined. For example, greenhouse, garden, and laboratory are all potion adjacent facilities. And so for the most part, all 3 of them can be used for potions. There's a couple exceptions that I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're somewhere in here. But it will have all of the definitions and everything for what it costs and all of that. As with creating a Bastion, I do recommend the first time or two you're crafting, popping by downtime planning, running it past someone that's done it a bunch. We're more than happy to help out and just help you guys streamline things. For the DMs in the call, you will be familiar with this as you were asked some questions about the Monsters tab when you submitted your DM app. This is a full list of every monster that is allowable on the server without the homebrew tag. There's a bunch of them. What are we at now? Yeah, close to 3,100 after the headers and everything. You can search through all of this, find info on stuff, and just find ideas. You can sort, or you can't actually sort because this is a view only, but you can save a version of this to your desktop and sort by creature type. You can sort by CR. You can filter out anything that is full DM only if you haven't gotten full DM yet. All that fun stuff. And I believe that is it on that. That is most of what I have for the general server side stuff. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Yeah, there is a question about the spell wrought tattoos.
Ah, wonderful. An individual of culture, my favorite magic item.
Yeah. So the question is, for example, the character is level 9
Uh-huh.
and has a bastion. Up to what level it can be crafted? I guess up to level 3.
That is
Right?
correct. The tier 1 consumables for spell rot tattoos are level 2 and level 3 spells.
So basically, having someone, for example, having a second character living in this bastion, who is a sorcerer, that sorcerer can craft and spell tattoos with haste, right?
Yes. So going back to the hypothetical where Ravenshade and I are sharing a bastion, and let's say I have uh, a warlock with a lot of support spells, and he has, say, a sorcerer with a lot of damaging spells. Um, Regardless of which one of us funds the specific room that is used, so long as the room is fully funded and both characters are of level to benefit from the room, both characters benefit from that room. Um, so even if,
What if,
say, I was the one that built what's the one that requires that you need for spell rot tattoos? Is it workshop? I think it is. Yeah, workshop and
Yeah.
painters. Um, so long as Ravenshade's character has painter supplies, he can also craft spell rot tattoos from the workshop. It would not require a bastion turn because it is a magic item that allows you to cast a spell, and therefore must be crafted directly, and cannot be crafted by hirelings. And as such, can be crafted starting at level 5 once you have the bastion and everything set up.
I mean, what if it's just one player with two characters? Is it still possible?
No. Only one of each of your characters can benefit from a specific bastion. So, for example, I have 3 characters with a bastion. They're all different bastions. They cannot benefit from the same bastion while being controlled by me. Yeah, you can only share a bastion with another player, not another character of your own.
I have a question.
What's up, Les?
Can you invite players after construction of a bastion to join your bastion?
Yes. I actually have an example of this as well because I just got Koost to join me at mine. Uh, duh, 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 trade log. No, why am I going to trade logs? Downtime logs. Uh, boom. Huh. Here we are. Alrighty. So this did not take. There we are. Alrighty. Copy message link. I'm going to drop another message link into the 149 Thomas text lobby. That is a link to where one of my buddies, Nico, joined me as in my bastion. So in order to join he had to construct at least one special facility, and that special facility had to not put our future combined bastion over the limit. So, for example, we were both we had passed level 9 and we had not yet hit level 13, and therefore we can benefit from 4 special facilities. At the time, I only had 3. He ended up hopping in, constructing a 4th, and because he paid for the full thing himself, and it didn't put the bastion over the total number of special facilities per the level, that is how you would combine a bastion with another player. If you were referring to like simply flavor, like having them over, I've done plenty of text RP with some buddies that just hop over to primarily Launa's because she has the biggest kitchen, and somewhere I've gone over to other friends' bastions. But that's full flavor, and as always, so long as the mechanics don't change and it's not disrespectful, flavor's free. Anyone else?
Ooh, I have something to add on to the one that I think Amora was asking about, the 2 characters thing. So even if you craft something with one character, you can't actually give it to your friend character. So basically, you have 2 characters. Character A has a bastion, character B does not. If you craft something
Yes.
bastion character A, you cannot pass it to character B until 30 days have passed.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. I knew I was forgetting
Well,
something. So
then
under yeah,
any, I'm
under
sorry, any note. I just want to like clarify if anyone on the server has been doing any workarounds to do that or not, because I see like one loophole, which is you have a friend on the server and you have another character. You kind of trade this item to another player who trades it to your another character from that player. Like I'm trying to like see what are you what has been going on in the server in terms of like possible abuses and everything to exclude any possible doings that I could do that will violate the rules, you know.
yeah. So to clarify on that, um, there's a difference between um, let me hop over here. So let's say uh, Ravenshade is selling an item, let's say a +1 shield, and I want to get it for my paladin Certus, but Certus is broke as hell. Launa's drowning in gold and has nothing to do with it. Uh, she can make one trade log to send Ravenshade the money, and then Ravenshade can send the +1 shield over to Certus, and that is fully kosher. Those are considered 2 separate trade instances, um, and that was something that, to my knowledge, was previously not allowed on the server, but it was small enough of an issue that it was removed from being a restriction because it was too time consuming to track, and they wanted to focus on other more serious things. For the example of, let's say, going back to this one because Launa is my primary crafter. Let's say, so for this one, where is it? Nothing lines up and it bugs the hell out of me. So over here on the 21st, I made a +1 longsword as Launa. Then later on the I didn't end up trading that. I need to go through and do that. Um, after the 30 days had passed, I can send the longsword over to another character of mine. If I were to craft the item on the 21st of July, send it over to Ravenshade, and then Ravenshade immediately send it over to one of my other characters, that would be a violation of the rules. And that is something, to my knowledge, that does not occur all that frequently because it was not used to be like it used to be cracked down on even harder. And we're getting an SB answer. Wonderful. I'll wait for her to finish typing. But yeah, in general, 30 days, 30-day timer. As soon as a character of yours receives an item, if you want to get that item onto a different one of your characters, you got to wait till that 30-day timer expires. Oh, that's the reason the audit team occurred. Wonderful. Good to know. Yeah. Thank you, SB. Good clarification. Alrighty. Any other questions on the server side stuff?
I have a question,
What's up?
and this may be a remarkably stupid question, but
I love stupid questions.
awesome, because I got lots. So I've been playing this game for a gazillion years in real life. This is the very first time that I've ever tried to play it online.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a massive amount of information here that I'm just trying to parse.
Yeah.
So is it going to hurt me if I am not doing downtime things and building things in between pickup games until I figure this server out a little bit better?
Not at all. I was on the server for like 3 months before I even touched downtime logs beyond just selling gear that I got upgrades to. It's just like, oh, I got a magical longbow. I'm gonna sell the mundane one. Yeah. Not gonna lie to you and say crafting isn't optimal, but you don't need to be like mechanically optimal to have a good time. You need to optimize for what you enjoy. And you like are not going to be left behind. Like there are definitely levels of power here. For example, I have a session missing merchant. I ran it at APL 4 and at APL 7. At APL 4, the encounters got absolutely trounced. I don't think a single character was bloodied, except for the third fight in the session where I downed a single character. I ran the exact same encounters, exact same stuff at APL 7. I almost party wiped. It really just depends on what party you're working with. There are people that have really strong builds and really strong magic items. There are people that don't really care about that. There are DMs that run lower stakes sessions. There are DMs that run super high stakes sessions. For example, one of my buddies, Jay, she is very much lean into the RP DM. She runs combat, just obviously.
I love Jay.
Mechanic. Jay's great. But like she, by her own admission, doesn't run super threatening combat because she doesn't enjoy running combat, and that's perfectly fine. Then you go to one of my other friends, Rexon. Rexon ran a multi-session with 6 level 10 characters, 4 of whom were full casters. They left with a total of 2 spell slots and two people dead, and like maybe 100 hit points to go around. It really just depends on what DM you're under, what level you're at, and what other players you're with. But thankfully, in my experience, at least, a vast majority of the DMs on the server are experienced enough to be like, hey, I grabbed some players. They're not as kitted out as the previous people that I took on this quest. I'm going to downgrade some of the abilities so that I don't kill everybody. And for the most part, everyone is pretty decent, at least, at maintaining a good understanding of how dangerous their games are. Some of us less so. Like my buddy Dev and I were newer to the DMing side, and balance specifically. Like once you pass like APL 12, is just completely over our heads. And so we're just like, it's like encounter difficulty. I just put stronger than a normal Thomas session, because I end up running for most of the same players regardless, because I've been running it around the same time rather frequently, so I've like picked up people that are available around the same time I normally am. But like if you see a difficulty like that and like I've never run for you, just ask a question. Hey, the fuck does that mean? Um, and most of us are more than happy to be like, hey, I in general run pretty strong combat for like general play, but pretty middle of the road for server power. Because for example, the missing merchant session, the first one that I planned, uh, there's a CR11 encounter in there. Uh,
Oh.
yeah. Um, and uh, DMs will rarely tell you like just, hey, this is a like CRX encounter that I'm gonna be running. Um, up until you get like rapport with them and it's like a pre-filled game. Like I do that for a lot of my like pre-filled and backstory games because I want to make sure it's like fitting for what the characters would want. Um, but for the most part, I'm just like, hey, I run pretty middle of the road combat for the server. I am nowhere near as dangerous a DM as Rexon because I am not that skilled. I'm more dangerous of a DM than Jay because I put more of a focus on combat and less of a focus on exploration. So that's how I balance my time. Um, but yeah, that's the long and short of it. You don't have to do anything you don't want to, except the stuff that is like specified that you have to do, which is like maintain your logs, don't be a dick. That's about it.
Okay, I think I can handle that. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
no problem. And when in doubt, hop in one of the channels, ask us for help. Like I got a couple of my community guide buddies in here. You need something, and it's like a hey, I have no idea who to ask. Ask the community guides. If they can't help you, at the very least, one of us will tell you where to get your question answered.
Okay, that was actually a question I was going to ask, and you answered it for me.
Yes. Yeah. They don't have a. Yes, SB. Have fun. It is mandatory. Why is nobody having a good time? I specifically requested it. Um, but yeah, the community guys don't have like a specific channel where you can like reach out to us like the lore team and PR team and stuff do, because as of now, community guides are not staff. It's uh, more a like an open role. Um, but you can just ping us where you need us, and if one of us is free, we'll hop in, give you a hand. If not, we'll see it eventually. We got
Okay, awesome.
8
Thank.
of us now, and I think we have a pretty good distribution. Um, we got a couple in Asian time zones, couple in EU time zones, and then about half of us in US time zones. But all of us have a different sleep schedule, so there's basically always one of us free.
People in Asian time zones that they sleep at US timing, they're crazy.
I mean, you say that, but like you and Viz are in the same time zone, and I've been in call with you guys for what, like 30 hours at this point?
No, Viz
That's
sleeps
it.
less than me, for sure.
Yes, and that's a good thing for you, because if you sleep less than her, I'm concerned for you. Yeah. Any other server side questions? Alrighty. The next session I have, the last bit in our general section, is a bit more open, less structured, and me just yapping. Anyone got any questions with regards to D&D in general? Builds, rules, mechanics, stuff like that. Anything you want gone over before we move on to the next section? Alrighty, I'm gonna take that as a no. Moving on to player side. I'm going to show you first and foremost how to set up some character sheets. I'm only going to show you Roll20 and D&D Beyond because those are the two most common ones, and they're the only two I know how to use. So, on D&D Beyond, for that in particular, if you scroll up towards the top of the server, you'll see a channel called Character Discussion. In the pinned messages in there, you will find a bunch of resources. The first one is a Foundry server operated by one of our members, Greensprout. You will find beneath that a Roll20 stall operated by our lore admin, Gene. Below that, you'll find a message from Dawn that houses 4 different D&D Beyond campaigns that between the 4 of us, I believe, have every book on D&D Beyond. They're not all in every single one, but I think between the 3 of us, we have every single one of them. There are 4 there are 4 campaigns on there. You can follow the link on that. Let me copy and paste. So, for instance, this one is Dawn's campaign, one of the in and outs, and you hop in here, and once you give it like 2 to 3 minutes, you'll have access to all of the books that Dawn has bought on D&D Beyond. So, for example, what book don't I have? Theros. So, for example, I do not, on D&D Beyond, own the Mystic Odyssey of Theros. But because this character is currently in a campaign run by Dawn, who does have Mystic Odyssey of Theros, I can see all the Mystic Odyssey of Theros stuff. And anything like that, you can go through and grab. Is this showing the drop down? I can't see. All right. But at the bottom of this list over here is Hawthorne Background 2024 number 2. This is the setup that I was telling you guys about earlier. It has every single expanded origin sheet that we allow on the server. It has every tool. It has every skill, and it has, which you will see over here once you have a species selected, it has an ASI on there. Fully customizable, fully built template. Took me like 7 hours. Get as much use out of it as you can. And on D&D Beyond, there are, well, we'll go over the big differences. Big differences between the two main sources, those being D&D Beyond and Roll20, is D&D Beyond is a much lower barrier to entry. I could head over to my sister's, who has never played D&D, log her onto D&D Beyond, and she could have a character sheet in like half an hour. It is far, far lower barrier to entry. It has customizing on D&D Beyond makes me want to tear out my eyes. And I say that as someone who has done most of the D&D Beyond homebrew for the server of late. I'm pretty good at it. I still hate it. It is just not formatted in a way that is, well, good. For Roll20, it is a much higher barrier to entry. It is harder to understand. There's a lot more going on, but it is literally infinitely customizable. So it will just depend which you prefer more. If you would rather have the easier setup and don't mind going without some of the more customized automation, D&D Beyond is your way to go. Super simple, has 80% of what you need, and most of the stuff it doesn't have, I've already built. If you would rather spend the time to learn one system and be able to do literally everything on it, go with Roll20. But one of the big things is on D&D Beyond specifically, it has this issue where it doesn't let you pick legacy invocations for 2024 Warlocks. And it's a pain in the ass because Xanathar's had a lot of really good invocations, like Gift of the Everliving ones, all that fun stuff, Cloak of Flies, and you just can't pick them on here. And invocations in particular, as well as like fighting styles, battle master maneuvers, and artificer infusions, the like choices within choices stuff, are a nightmare to force D&D Beyond to accept. In general, your fastest way to notate that stuff is going to be either in one of these areas where you can just write for free, or under your equipment tab in the other possessions. For example, if I were to go over to, who has a bunch of random shit? Launa. Launa has a bunch of random stuff. All right. If we go over to equipment, Launa's got like several paragraphs worth of random stuff that I didn't feel like building into D&D Beyond. Because functionally it has like one thing that it does differently, and I didn't feel the need to code any of it. You can just pop it there, or you can pop the details in your background stuff. Functionally, most of what you need is just class. Any of your stuff that gives you a blue check mark means you have stuffs to still pick. So, for example, let's head over to 5. Warlock, go Arcana and Deception because it's the first two. Agonizing Blast because it's fun. Eldritch Spear because it's stupid. Lessons of the first ones for Alert, Armor of Shadows, and Fiendish Vigor. And once you have selected all your stuff, the blue check mark goes away. That means you don't have anything else to pick on there. Then once you head over, you find your stuff. You will find some homebrew stuff on here. Anything that is allowable on server under homebrew will have HTA somewhere in the name. If it has that in the name, it is allowable on server. If it doesn't have that in the name, double check the allowed content. Unfortunately, just due to how content sharing works on D&D Beyond, when you join one of the campaigns like mine, Velociraptors, or Dawn's, the ones in the pinned comments, you'll have access to all of our homebrew stuff, which includes some stuff that we do for games that we run outside of the server. So if you don't see the HTA somewhere in the name, check the allowed content, make sure it's kosher. For example, we'll go Celestial because it's the best. And then ASI will bump Charisma because I don't feel like thinking. There you are. Then you head over to spells. Good thing with D&D Beyond, it has all of this already set up for you. And you can go ahead and once you grab the maximum number, the prepare button goes away and just doesn't work anymore. Same thing with cantrips. Once you have the maximum number, the learn button just goes away. That way you don't need to keep track of stuff. background, we'll go super easy. I'm literally just picking the top. Origin feat, we'll grab crafter. All right, that has sub choices. We'll grab lucky. Species, we'll grab Leonin. Oh yeah, that's a pain. All right, well, that's a good a time as any to go over it. You will encounter some 2014 races with something like this on your page: ability score increase, and it specifies 2 specific ability scores, or sometimes more, to increase by a certain amount. On the server, we allow you to tell that restriction to go to hell. The way you do that is over on the Home tab. You scroll on down, and you're going to turn these 2 on: optional class features and customize your origin. Now, once you head over here, you'll see under the Origin Manager a couple check marks. Click them all. Don't look, just click them all. Then a bunch of other stuff turns blue. So let's say we're still building this as a warlock. We're going to probably want to pump our dexterity by 1 and our charisma by 2. Hunter's instincts will grab intimidation because it's funny. And we'll grab yeah, we'll grab common. There we are. Ability scores. You go over to point buy. On here, on D&D Beyond, there is an option called manual rolled. This is not allowed on the server because there is nothing to stop you from rolling a bunch. That's a really good roll. There's nothing to stop you from rolling a bunch, realizing you don't like it, and just doing it again until you get a fully optimized set. And functionally, that is just a pain for the auditors to keep up with. So we would rather just have everything be that you start at the same baseline. So we head over here. Oh, right, I forgot it does this. Every now and then, when you have feats that increase your ability scores before you have your ability scores, it does weird stuff where it doesn't boost your stuff correctly. So like charisma right now should be 8 plus 2 from Leonin and plus 2 from a feat. It's not doing that properly. Anytime it's doing something weird, unselect the thing that's doing something weird, put it back on. It fixes itself. I don't know why they can't just make it do it automatically, but it is a recurring problem. But you can go over, we'll probably want to pump dex. We'll want a decent con. And we're a lion dude, we want a good strength. There's a standard stat spread. You also, if you don't want to go through the full thing, you can go standard array and pop your specific ones in specific stats. And this is also legal because you can get this array with point buy. You can go 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. Equipment. If you are on a 2024 class, you can choose either or. I recommend pretty much always going with the gold because there's almost always going to be something in the list that you don't want, and you sell this stuff for half gold. So why not just get the gold, buy only the stuff you want, save yourself time and money. For 2014 specifically, so let me go over and show that. So if I were to play a monk under starting equipment, it would give me an amount of starting gold. We don't do that because it's random, and there's nothing to stop the same way as ability scores you from just spamming randomize until it's up. That's the max roll. So if you're playing 2014, you always get the equipment. If you're playing 2024, you do get to choose. But that is that. Any questions on designing characters in D&D Beyond? Cool. Moving on to roll 20. So in Roll20, which is where the vast majority of games are held, you do not have to be a DM to set up your own game. I strongly recommend everyone that is building, primarily in Roll20, have a game of their own. I'm not going to go through and make one because I already have 3. But functionally, whether you're playing 2014 or 2024, do not touch this. The 2024 sheets by Roll20 break everything. I don't know why. Not even the couple DMs that we have on the server that are like employees of Roll20 have figured out why. It just breaks shit in a way that is like not at all productive. Like it's super hard to fix. So you just leave it as standard, put in a name, and create the game. Once you get there, you will head over to this page. You'll see no players because you haven't run it for anybody, and you just go to launch game. And depending on how you are doing it, for example, I do all of my stuff by hand because I'm using a lot of the custom rules. And a lot of my characters have homebrew items from DMs, so it's just easier for me to do it all by hand. The other alternative is going through the lobby that Gene runs that houses all of the content. Unfortunately, I am not super familiar with that. I'd recommend you, if you have any questions about that, hop over to character discussion, ask questions. Plenty of people will be happy to help you. You're going to hop over to this third tab right here where it says journal. You're going to make a character. We're going to call him Bob. Give him a token, give him an avatar, and you add it. You're going to see this button be the biggest. You're going to avoid this like the plague. It's the worst thing ever. I hate it so much. The 2 things you're going to want to do, depending on what you're trying to do, are either edit the sheet directly or create an NPC. If you're doing a player character, you're going to want to just edit the sheet directly. You can go ahead, just select your stuff, increase, say it's like 15, a bunch of stuff will autofill, and you can format all of this how you wish. This is stuff I'm primarily just going to breeze over because there's not really a way to talk about it in any depth that is not me spending the next 15 hours explaining Roll20, which, as much as I would love to do, I got to go to bed. You can add global modifiers. So, for example, global save modifiers. When you have this selected and you roll a wisdom save, it adds bless. When you turn it off, it no longer adds bless. When you have this on for global attack, it does the same thing. Same thing for global damage, same thing for global AC. This is functionally the least useful because most of the time, at least in my experience, you're going to be just double clicking in here and typing what your AC is. Because why would you set up a macro for 5 minutes when you can double click and type in 2 numbers? Same thing for skill modifiers. When you roll, say, persuasion, it will include guidance. You turn it off. You roll again, no longer includes guidance. God, I'm rolling this shit. Glad I'm doing it now. As you edit stuff, let's say we have a 16 strength, it auto updates everything that uses strength. Your athletics, your strength saves. You click it and it adds your proficiency bonus. If you need to add expertise, you can hop over here and you can turn it from normal or expertise, and you can add a conditional modifier. So let's say you have a an item that gives you like a +2 to acrobatics or something. You type it in there, and you go back to your core. Even though this character currently has a 0 dex and no proficiency, they have a +2 to acrobatics because that is what we told it to do. It's a bunch of more complex stuff. Spells are more annoying when you don't have the content. This is a big shill for using the resource that Gene so generously provides us all. It's access to basically every spell that's allowable on the server. You can just add them. When I have been doing my builds, so for example, Caro, I had to port in every single one of these by hand, and it was a pain. But due to some of the issues that D&D Beyond and the Beyond 20 extension have been having lately, Roll20 is just better, in my opinion. But once you have everything set up, you can get macros set up. So I have, like, if I am swinging with the sword and I end up hitting, I turn Life Drinker on. When I hit damage, it'll ask me what damage type, because I have Pact of the Blade, so I can change that. And Life Drinker gives you a couple damage options. And then when you do it, it'll give you that nice and fancy schmancy breakdown. You can have everything selected. And I'm just going to spam through. It adds everything that you've told it to add and separates everything out for you. Is there anyone that wants specific stuff with character creation on D&D on Roll20?
You can create characters without setting up a server as well on Roll20.
Yeah,
I've done that so far.
yeah, you can just make a shell, which is the next thing I'm going to go over.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do I import that to a game, for example?
Yes, that'll be the next thing I go over once I go over the shells. But very good question.
Okay.
Yeah. If you are using a D&D Beyond character sheet, one of the things you will hear referred to rather frequently is what is known as a shell. So let's say I was still using Beyond 20 and I needed to use my monk. Here we are. Not going to do any of this. Functionally, all you need when you go out here is to edit the token properties, make it represent, turn on a nameplate, and put your HP in one of the bars. And then just turn it on to C. And then in dynamic lighting, just turn on your vision and give yourself however much dark vision you have. Then, the next time you drag that token out, whether it's in your game or another DM's game, it has all your stuff all set up. With this, if I were to head over and find wherever I put Cathera, while I have Roll20 open, if I were to say roll with this short sword, that's a 28 to hit, and you hop over here, and you see right there, 28 to hit with a plus 10, and when you hit that, oh, it doesn't work. Right, I forgot about that. And it works the same for damage. Roll that there, and it pumps out over here, and it gives you all the rolls that you may do. Beyond 20 is a free extension. It has the downsides of a free extension in that it is not always quick on the uptake with updates and bug fixes, but it is a very helpful resource. You can download it for, I believe, all browsers, but I know for a fact it works on Chrome and Opera. I haven't personally tested any of the others. But if you are just hopping in to a game and you use primarily D&D Beyond, just get a quick shell token set up, and then you can import it to the DM's game and you'll be all set. On that note, let's go over importing to a game. On here, you will see, when you hover over tools, a set of tools. They hid a bunch of the stuff and reorganized a bunch. The only one you're probably going to care about is this one right over here called Character Vault. Let's say I want to bring over my build Bob. You select the game, select the character, and hit import. Then when you scroll down, he's right there. And let's say I wanted to import that over to Deandra's game. I would find her game on the list that I have. Game is added to this list for you when you have launched the game, and you hit export to game, and it'll show up. I'm going to go ahead and import this to one other of mine, and it will give you this message right here. The character has been successfully exported. Then the next time you head into that game, for example, this is one that a build that I just did in a different game of mine, but I can come over here, I can scroll down, and I can find Bob. And if I had set him up with anything, it would all be in over here. For example, one of the characters that I'm running for rather frequently, Clementine, she has imported, and all of that stuff pops in over here, so she doesn't have to remake all of this every time she plays a game, because that would be insane. She also has a bunch of macros and is the one that taught me most of them, but you hit the little button, tells you a bunch of stuff. You can also do it with shells. Who uses a shell that I can yoink? Did Erlen? Yeah, Erlen does. So this is a buddy of mine, Edmar's character. All he has inputted is level, armor class, speed, and hit points. And that's all you need. You drop it down. She has all her stuff set up because he set her up in his own game and just exports her over whenever he wants to play her. And that is that. It will not be nearly as chaotic as this. I started organizing, and then I made it worse, and then I just didn't touch it for a couple weeks. But yeah, that is how you will export and bring over character sheets from one source to another. Any other questions about D&D Beyond, Beyond 20, or Roll20? Alrighty, next we're going to go ahead and move on to some of the player logging stuff. So you will see on occasion people reference a code block. A code block, I'm going to post, actually I already did. The top message in the 149 Thomas text lobby is the code block format. That is essentially a cheat code that you give the DM of each of the games you're in to copy and paste to make their logging easier. You just put in your Discord handle, your character's name and level, how much XP, gold, DTP, and loot you got, and any resources that you expended. So, for example, boom, as actually, let me just grab mine from Miss Klang's game earlier today. For example, you would get something like this. You can find out how much XP you're going to get by using that command right there. once you get that in and hit space or tab, it will bring up two required fields, those being your character's level and the number of hours you played. You punch that in, and it'll spit out how much XP you get. So, for example, for that one, we played a 4-hour game, and I was level 10, and it spits out 5,600. And you just punch that in. Gold pieces, that is entirely up to the DM running the game. There is a guideline on it. In the resources tab, you can find that under the DM guidelines. However, one thing to note is that the guidelines in here, and I'm about to show you guys once my computer decides to load. There's right there it is. For example, for the session we were in with Miss Clang earlier today, it was an APL 9, average party level 9. The maximum he could give out is 600 gold pieces. You will note from the code block, he gave out 300. Take big note of this word right here, maximum. DMs are under no obligation to give out the maximum of anything. Gold and loot are both fully up to DM discretion, down to what loot gets determined if they want to predetermine loot rather than rolling. If they are determining an item for a specific character, it is within their rights to do that. And all of that is arbitrated by the DM. The things that are not arbitrated by the DM for the purposes of the code block are XP and DTP. Both of those occur at a flat rate. You get XP based on your level and the amount of hours you played, as shown by the command that I used earlier. You get DTP, or downtime points, at a rate of 5 per hour and 2 for every half hour. There are a couple of things that can increase that. For the next 51 hours, you can, when playing in a 2024 game, fill out the 2024 playtest survey and get an extra 10 DTP from that. For the duration of the current stage of the Lionheart test pilot, you can also fill out that survey and get an additional 5. I'm not sure if that one has an official end time yet. I think we're kind of taking that as it goes for now. But yes, those are not up to DM discretion whether you get them or not. Those are things that just happen. But when it comes to gold and loot, those are specifically fully under the DM fiat rule. Yeah, that is that. In order to get this code block, you're going to put this character right here 3 times at the start and the end of your message. And it will turn out like that. It is the button right below the escape key on most North and South American keyboards. It is the non-shift version of the... Thank you, Kona. I knew it had a name. The backtick. It is the non-shift version of the tilde key. And on most EU, Africa, and Asia keyboards, it is typically the shift version of the tilde key. But the main reason you do that is if you hover over any of the code blocks that I have punched in, you will see a little paper button. You click that, it turns into a check mark, and you can Control V and paste whatever was in there. So this makes it super easy for the DM to go through, find all the code blocks, copy them, and then when they do their session log, they just pop back over, hit copy, hit paste. Saves them a lot of time, gets them less work to get the session log out, which means you get your rewards sooner. On that note, that's one thing I forgot to mention a little earlier. The session logs is essentially what is considered the server canon. Until a session log is posted, it functionally hasn't happened yet. So, for example, the Miss Clang session that I was in earlier today, where my level 10 character got the oils of slaying and the spell rat tattoos and stuff. I do not have access to those until Miss Clang gets around to writing the session log. This is another point where I will remind people to be respectful. Please do not bug DMs to get session logs up early. Session logs, DMs have a lot of logging to do on the server. We're working to make it more streamlined and stuff, but it is a lot of effort that they are putting in. Most of the time, the DM will get a session log out in 2 to 3 days. Please just be patient. But yes, that is that. Next on the list, applying to games. Yeah. So if you scroll all the way up to the server, you'll see announcements. At the bottom of that tab is called Role Select. There will be a bunch of reactions that you can go ahead and select, and it will give you role tags for that. For example, TTRPG, TCG, and other tabletop, video games, fighting games, watch along, lounge, all that stuff. Those are roles that DMs and other members on the server can go ahead and ping to get everyone who has that role notified rather than scrolling through finding, oh, looks like Kona does not have fighting game on there. Gene does, H does, yada, yada, yada. Going through all that, you can just ping the role at fighting games. Hey, I'm throwing a Tekken tournament tomorrow. Who wants to come? And you notify everybody. Same thing with the game ad roles. Those are a bit above that. You will see the 4 for play-by-post and the 4 for voice games. You can go ahead and select any of those, and those will give you the tags to receive notifications whenever DMs post a game for that set, for that format and that tier. You will find those pings primarily where you guys saw the ping for this in game advertisement. Once you do, you will see a link to a listing as you did for this one. You can go ahead, go in there. Up at the top, the DM will almost always have a code block or a section called How to Apply. Please follow that specifically. As I had mentioned earlier, fortunately, we do have a bit of a disparity between the number of DMs on the server and the number of players on the server. And so one of the ways that DMs will decide who to bring to a session is who does the application rate. A lot of us will put random questions in there. So, like for mine, I'll generally ask like, "What's your favorite cleric subclass? What did you have for dinner yesterday?" And people that don't answer that question, I generally skip over. Um, the rationale behind that is if you're not gonna put the time in to spend 2 minutes to read the listing that we made, how is the DM supposed to trust that you will put in the focus for 3 to 12 hours to play in the game that they have spent so much time working on? Please make sure you are following the instructions that they provide. Each DM is different and expects different information. And yeah, that is about that. Any questions? Alrighty. Last thing, player side, and then we will go ahead and move on to DM side. Under logs, you will see a number of channels titled requests. The primary one we're going to be going over right now is player requests. For the most part, this is set to be stuff where you will be adding, making quick requests to primarily the rules team. This is also where a lot of DMs will look through to find people who are interested in specific kinds of games. You can go through and let me see, where's a good example of one that I can use? Here's one. There we are. Copy message link. We head on over here. If you go into this, you will find a player request done by one of my buddies, Keldrick, Decoy Mantis. Player request to add the Mechanical Beholder and the Battle Balloon from Acquisition Incorporated. The Rules Architects and Rules Apprentice create a thread and can suggest either basics, and as a result of this, this ended up getting turned into a poll, both on staff team and in DM chat. When stuff like that is brought up, it is brought to a vote. If it passes the threshold for the vote, it is added to the server. However, a point of note, player requests is not an area for you to put a bunch of homebrew requests. To my knowledge, it is primarily intended to be for specific kinds of games that you would like to be a part of. For example, there was one by one of our players, Andy, who was playing a neutral character and wanted to get their spirit guardians to deal necrotic damage for flavor reasons, because they're from the Shadowfell and stuff. And the rules team informed them that, hey, this is something that is not off the table, but it would need to be run by a DM. That is the answer to most of these. The other big thing is you can request to lore team the God and Domain editions. Please make sure you have read up on the material and you're making a reasonable request, but for the most part, those go over pretty well. Thread will be added and you will get a result. For example, Salem made one to add the order domain to Amountator, and that ended up getting approved. You can find all of that information. Where is it? Is it in lore discussion? No, it's somewhere. Yes, it is in lore discussion. In the pinned messages in lore discussion, there is a link to a PDF of the gods and the domains that are allowable on the server. You can pop through in there. You need a character concept. Great way to find one is find a cool god and set up someone that would follow in those footsteps. That is most of player requests. Do I have any questions from anything I've gone over so far before we move on over to DM side?
I have a
I
quick
have one.
question, if I can pop
Go
in.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I heard Grail first. Go ahead.
Just in the looking for game, that little Hawthorne bot thing that pops up with the Dungeon Master T1, T2. Can you just unpack a little bit what's happening there? Because I see that pop up and I'm wondering, what am I supposed to do with this, like as a
Yes.
player and as a
Yeah.
as a Dungeon Master?
For sure. So that is the exclamation point game command. That is one that we have set up. It is more for impromptu games. So for example, oh, looks like Stealth Slash just put one up. So he did one a little bit earlier and specified that, hey, this is gauging interest for Sunday. Occasionally DMs will do that, if you scroll up the previous one, or a couple before that, by Jackie Smackers, there was nothing specified for when it would be, so it is primarily for, hey, if you're available right now, click the reaction and add your name to the people who would want to play a game in that tier. As a dungeon master, you can go in, pop that ad up, pop that bot response up, and say you're just like, I feel like running, but I have no idea what I want to run. You pop that up, go eat dinner, come back. There's 6 or 7 reactions to probably tier 2. You're like, oh, okay, I'll run a tier 2 game. From the DM side is primarily there to demonstrate to you what level of interest there is in the various tiers of play at the time of posting. For players, it is for you to indicate what tier of play you're interested in playing at the time of posting. For both DMs and players, we generally ask, in as a rule of thumb, to reduce spam, that you do not use the game command more than once every 2 to 3 hours, just because we don't want to bombard people. But yeah, that's about that. Did that answer the question, or is there anything more?
No, that was really helpful. Thanks. Like my life is complete now.
I wouldn't go that far. It's going to go to my head. But thank you. Laz, you had a question as well. What can I do for you?
Yes. Let me see. I had a question. I'm so sorry. I've forgotten my question.
You're good. Just interrupt
I
me when
guess
it
it's
comes
not
back
that.
to you.
It's not that important. Please continue.
Alrighty. Anyone else have any other
Hi,
questions? Go ahead.
can I ask something?
Go for it.
All right. Again, sure how to say this properly, but like this is sort of like an information dump in a sense,
Hmm.
because yeah. So all the technicalities aside, if I'm just like a new player who
Hmm.
just hop in, make a character, go through all the mouthing with like just set it up and just hop into a game.
Hmm.
Like what's the most minimal thing I should look for like in the server?
So if I'm understanding correctly, you're looking to see like what is the what's the minimum barrier to entry to just start getting into games while you process the uh, admittedly large amount of information that is here on the server. Is that correct?
Sorry.
Cool. For the most part, the only things you actually need to read, like before you join any games, are the player guidelines, the parts of the allowed content that you care about, which is just scroll through. You don't need to read about every single race and species. Just like, hey, I want to play a tiefling. What tieflings are available? I'm playing 2024 Abyssal. Boom. They're done. Move on from the next tab. Skip everything else on there. Same thing with class. You're like, oh, I want to play a warlock. Oh, wonderful. There's a 2024 fiend warlock. Grab fiend, move on. In the mal, all you'll need is the character creation log. You don't technically need this, but I do recommend it just because it will calculate your XP correctly for you without you needing to modify the formulas, and it's easier to keep track of. But that is admittedly my personal preference. It is not required. Um, and then just have everything ready for when the DM asks you for stuff when they post a session log. So, for example, I typically ask for character name, their level split and mechanical build, their token, a link to their character sheet or a photo of it, and my random question of the day. Um, Fill that out and get into a game. Looks like I got a couple messages in here. There we are. Cool. Alrighty. Last call for open player questions before I move on to some DM side stuff. Alrighty, sounds good. For those of you who are just here for the player side, I'm going to be primarily focusing on the DM side from now until the end of the workshop, aside from answering questions as they arise. If you guys are only here for the player side, feel free to get on out of here and enjoy the rest of your night. Just drop in when you are heading out in the text lobby. I'll make sure you get pinged in the session log to get your DTP if you would like it. And it was lovely meeting you all. Then
Thank
for
you.
the DMs, I'm going to copy over my list of stuff that I was going to go over into the same 149 Thomas text lobby. If there's anything in particular those of you who are here would like to hear about, we can start with that. If not, I'll just go down the list.
Is that in session lobby? Is that where you're
Yes.
putting that, Thomas?
Yeah, session
Okay, I
lobby
see.
and then 149 Thomas text lobby, yeah. Just because I'm probably going to be doing these more frequently again. And so I'd rather just have it somewhere that doesn't get deleted so I don't have to dig through where I put random stuff.
Where would you like us to post, to say or post where?
Just tell me.
All right. I'm interested in, if the others are, I'm interested in hearing about loot, DM requests, choosing players.
For sure.
I-
I'll go ahead and go in that order. So as an aside on the loot, I'm actually going to DM you a document. Give me one moment. Where did I put you? 7 windows, and I somehow still don't have this open. One moment. Hawthorne Magic Item Smithy. Wonderful. Nope, don't make a copy. Copy the link. There we are. So here is a link, Laz, to a document I made that is literally just a compilation of every official minor property history, creator, intended user, quirk from the 2014 DMG, the 2024 DMG, and the Hawthorne Arcana, as well as a couple of Thomas originals. They're all labeled with their original source. Do note that anything that is labeled custom is one that I made myself, and therefore, pursuant to the DM guidelines, does require the full DM tag, or to my knowledge, DM collaboration can sign off on minor properties. I'm not 100% sure on that, though. But it does have literally every official one on there. Grab them. It's where I go for interesting flavor text and an easy way if you're running out of ideas of like, what do I want to drop for the players? Start from there, flavor it, roll it if you want, and it's like, I have this sword that has creator aberration. What if there's a dude taken over by mind flayers? Boom! Now you have a session. You have a monster, and you have a main loot drop. And there you go. In terms of loot, I, as of late, use a very different process. I am not really balancing my loot around the whole server, because most of the stuff that I am Utilizing is not really stuff that gets traded because I, at this point, pretty much determine everything for a character. So, like in my play-by post that Kona is in, every single permanent that I dropped is determined for a specific character. So it's not a worry of, oh, is this item going to get traded? Is there an interaction I'm not thinking about? When you make it super flavorful, even if it's not mechanically optimal, 99% of players are going to love it even more, and they're going to hold on to it. And so that is how I have been approaching loot as of the last couple months. And we have Missile to thank for that. Probably my favorite DM on the server. Sweetest guy here. But the other way to do loot is if you scroll up to Afray Lookup, I will enlighten you on the secrets. Let's say I'm running a game for APL 8 and I don't know what to drop. I'm going to spam that command like 4 or 5 times and come up with a couple options that look funny. You just set it as player count 20 and just generate a bunch that the bot recommends for the level. Pick ones that are, pick ones that are flavored around what you're running. So, for example, you end up running a. Yes, Kona, I am overworking the clanker to death. Let's say you're running a Feywild session and you have some pixies. They are primarily archers in their stat block, and you go, oh, weapon of melodies. That would be fun, and you grab that, and then you grab a couple consumables from the list. Do note when utilizing this that if you are predetermining loot, there is still a cap on consumables. That cap is elaborated on in the allowed content under loot. Each heading. So, for example, for the tier 0 consumables, DMs can predetermine up to 4 duplicates of a tier 0 consumable per item slot, up to 15 per ammunition. So even if I rolled in Avray Lookup, for example, 5 potions of resistance, unless I used that as my treasure log and like rolled for, say I brought 5 players and I actually rolled 5 potions of resistance, you can't declare 5 potions of resistance. You could declare up to 3. This is more just a brainstorming tool. You can also use the added selections of Force Tier 0 if you're looking to declare some funny bonus loot, or Force Consumables if you have a bunch of permanents that you know you want to give out, but you just don't know what consumables you want. You can spam the Force Consumables true in Avray Lookup, or if you wanted to, you could in Treasure Log do at Lazamore declaring loot for session X, and it's like APL 8, 5 players, declare 2 permanents, and then roll loot and roll 3 consumables. And there you go. Those are the main options. Primarily, I predetermine simply because I find it more fun to crack out the flavor and make stuff like super personalized for people. Because ever since I got super personalized loot from a couple of the DMs on here, it was one of the most heartwarming feelings I had in a session. And I'm like, I'm doing that for other people now. But feel free to use the commands in Avray Lookup to generate ideas. Feel free to use a mix of predetermine and roll, all of that. Did that answer the stuff about loot, or did you have anything more in particular?
No, that was pretty much it. Is there one thing? Is there a way on the server when rolling the loot to, if I say I wanted to, sorry if I missed this in your description, say I wanted to roll tier 0 loot and that we can add extra, and the tier whatever loot for the session itself. That has to be 2 commands, right?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So how you would do that, let's use this hypothetical scenario, 5 players, APL 8.
Mhm.
You would do /hgen loot, player count 5, APL 8. That would generate your base loot. And then you would do /hgen loot, player count 2, APL 8. And then you would select the additional parameters. You'd select force tier 0, and you would select option true. And then you would hit enter, and it would generate 2 tier 0 slots.
Understood.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing, the special properties are, I can give any item 2 minor properties. And
Yeah.
quirk, any item?
Oh yeah, Grail, I can DM you that that document real quick. Give me one sec. Yeah, it's one I threw together myself because I was sick and tired of switching back and forth from a bunch of different sources. I was like, screw it, I'm gonna put them all in a single place myself.
This is excellent. Yes.
But yeah, you can give one history. You can give one creator / intended user, 2 minor properties. Aside from, I know it's 2. Guardian and Unbreakable require full DM, and 1 quirk. You can only use, as trial DMs, you can only use the ones that do not say custom as the source. Those are ones that I made and either declared myself as a full and homebrew DM, or ones that I got approved through a DM request. But it's a lot of flavor for you to get a good idea of stuff. And once you are once you have a generalized understanding of it, you can do stuff like this. Actually, hey Kona, I need a favor. I need you to not look in the text lobby for the next 2 to 3 minutes. I'm gonna put something that I haven't dropped in the play-by post yet in there, and I don't want to spoil it for you.
Gotcha.
Cool. So this is a single item that you can fully customize as a full DM. This one in particular does happen to be like a best in slot item. But even if it wasn't, this amount of flavor for the character I'm dropping this for, it would never leave their side. Even if they would end up replacing it at some point, this kind of stuff doesn't get sold because they get attached to it, and that's one of the best parts of DMing. For the sentient part, that does require full DM. SB, correct me if I'm wrong, but does require a full DM. The sentient guidelines, I believe I retyped in the document I sent out, but if not, it is for sure in the DMG for 2014 and 2024. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and delete that real quick. There we are.
Awesome.
But yeah, that is where that document that I sent you guys is the big thing that I use to crack out items like that in 10 to 15 minutes. Alrighty. Incentives. That's another one that I wanted to go over. So in the DM guidelines, where are we? There we are. God, it's been a while since I've reread. There it is. It's been reorganized. All right. So a couple of these will be going away soon. Those, namely, being the 2024 playtest and the session feedback. They go away in 50 hours. Actually, I think 47 because we use EST as standardized. Um, but for the purposes of stuff like this, for example, 2024 session feedback, the +1 item to the loot pool, that essentially gives you advantage or increases advantage on the loot roll. So you increase your player count for that roll of DM loot and get more options to choose from, not more items. For something such as Jumpstart, where it is gain an additional DM loot item that is a separate single roll. So, for example, if there was a game run that was a 2024 game where the person did the feedback form and had 2 new hires and was a Jumpstart, their DM loot rolls would be slash HGen loot, player count 5, APL, whatever level their DMPC is, and HGen loot, player count 1, and DMPC level. They would choose one item from the block of 5 and take the single item. On that note, with rolling loot and DM loot, occasionally there will be a thing that'll pop up underneath yours that says additional loot. That is essentially the DM equivalent of getting bonus loot in a session. It is typically tier 0. Kona, correct me if I'm wrong, because we talked about this a while ago and I was definitely sleep deprived. But it can sometimes like surge and go higher. You get that additional item automatically. You don't have to choose between it, and it doesn't give you an additional item to choose from. It's not like, oh, I rolled additional loot, I can pick 2 from this list. No, it's you pick 1 from the list, and you get the additional item automatically.
Yeah, so the additional item is pretty much just like a 10% chance thing, which is a little special bonus.
It's a gamble.
It doesn't add to any loot pools, just a free item.
Yeah. Yeah, there we are. Laz, what were the other 2? You wanted the loot, choosing players, and what was the third one?
Let me look at the list again. It was one down. What did I know about DM requests?
For sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We'll go ahead and do choosing players first. So let me hop over to one of mine. I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to paste it in here. That is the session listing when I made it for the play-by post that I am running. You will see all the people that applied and the ones that were chosen closer to the bottom. The number of applicants is always a double-edged sword because on one hand, when you don't get that many, it doesn't feel that great, but you also don't have to choose. When you get a lot, it's really reassuring, but then you have to choose. There is honestly not a tried and true method. I know as a DM, I like to run primarily for people I know and people that are new to the server in about a 60-40 split. Most sessions I run that aren't like pre-fill are 3 people I know and like get along with well, and 2 people I haven't met before. That is my sweet spot. You will find your own. It may be the exact same as mine, maybe completely different than mine. But just as you go, you will find where you're most comfortable, where you as a DM will shine, and stick there. Or hey, you want to get out of your comfort zone, do that. For this one in particular, I went a little more towards the players that I know, simply because this was my first play-by-post that I was running. So I grabbed Kona because I had talked with Kona several times. I grabbed Ash because I had talked with her several times. I grabbed Deandra and Melly because they were already friends of mine at the time. And then I grabbed Wilcox because I try to grab at least one new player every time, both admittedly for DM rewards and also to get people's foot in the door. The easiest way to pick players: boot up a Google sheet, put everybody's put everybody's Discord handle that you're planning that you would like be willing to take in a list, number them 1 through whatever, and do equals rand between 1 and whatever the maximum number is. And just do that a bunch of times and just pick random. It's the easiest way. The other easiest way is, oh, you're taking 5 people, you have 5 friends that applied. Take your 5 friends. There's nothing wrong with any method of choosing players, so long as everyone is remaining respectful and people are having fun.
Totally.
Yeah. DM requests. DM requests are primarily required for tag escalation. So trial DMs getting full DM tag, and trial or full DMs getting homebrew tag. It is additionally helpful for getting custom item drops permitted, or item modifications permitted, as well as the running of hardcovers. So, for example, for the hardcover ones, let me move this real quick. Strixhaven. All right, I'm just gonna search by from me. Oh, I can't. Oh, right, I'm in streamer mode. Right, I'll grab this one as an example for full DM.
I don't know if it's supposed to be changing, but the screen you're sharing is still on a PDF.
That is correct. I can
Okay.
basically never share Discord because I have access as PR to basically the entire server, and half of it
Yeah,
can't be
we
shown
don't
to
need it.
anyone.
We don't need to see that. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's why I've been linking Discord stuff when I'm talking about them. I just talk to myself a lot. So I linked one that was Jay's submission for full DM. That is a perfect example of how you do it correctly. You reply to your original declaration of intent to try out. You push your session logs, and you put which session logs were observed and reviewed by full DMs or members of staff. Then you tag the rainbow, and the staff team will reach out and let you know. General turnaround time, depending on how much stuff we have on our plate, generally about 4 days. You get an answer one way or the other. We try to keep it to 2, but occasionally there will be more pressing matters, and we will prioritize stuff accordingly. Same thing for Homebrew Tag, actually. Right below it is Velociraptor's application for that. They did theirs very well, and you guys are able to peruse that at your own leisure. You can also just filter through search in DM chat for congratulations to new homebrew DM, and just find people that got approved recently, find their requests, and just read theirs. I also have a document for help with getting homebrew tag. It's a rather rudimentary uh, CR calculator, but it is more precise than a lot of the ones that are online. Namely because it has set up for you to customize and do your own DPR calculations. Whereas the others, you have to have them done already. You can just punch numbers in, and it'll do the DPR calcs for you. I do recommend fully understanding how to do DPR calculations, as those are very important, and you will need to spell those out when you do your homebrew tag application. But once you have those, once you're trying to build around something, just having something you can plug shit into and it'll spit out an answer is pretty helpful. What's next on that list?
I have a question on this topic.
What's up?
Because for becoming a full GM, I see multiple people would have more than 5 games. What's the benefit of doing that? How do I know if I should do that too when I inevitably try out for full GM?
Yeah, so full DM requires a minimum of 5 games and a minimum of 2 observers. Those observers must be staff or full DMs. Sometimes people just timelines don't converge, and you just don't line up with a full DM or a staff member that's available. That's honestly most of it. Most of the ones that are 6 are just people that run 6-hour sessions. 6-hour sessions is 2 sessions each. You just link all 6. But yeah, that is the that's the big determiner of how many people how many sessions people run is how many how long it takes them to get to staff or full DM observers.
Mm-hmm.
That was a question I had. When I see people putting the full DM 1 to 5 or 2 to 5, I think I figured it out that if you don't have any full DM gains, the first one you run is going to be like 0 of 5. Is that right? Once you've got like 4 under your belt, then that'll be this next game is advertised as full DM 4 out of 5. Right?
Yeah. So how it works is once you become a DM, you run 5 games as a trial DM. Then, if you like DMing on the server, you can declare intent in DM requests to try out for full DM. Any sessions you do after that can be full DM trials. They just have to be called that in your session listing as like full DM tryout 1 of 5. For your first one up through full DM tryout 5 of 5 for your last one. As you go through, you will link the full DM feedback forms to your players. They are not obligated to fill it out. Full DMs and staff members that are players in your games also aren't technically obligated to do so, but it's like strongly encouraged that they do it. And functionally, if they're showing up to your game, we were all trial DMs at one point. We know that like you need the sign off. So, and to be honest, it doesn't take that long. It's like 15 minutes tops. But yeah, once you have 5 games as a trial DM, then you can declare intent for either homebrew and or full DM, and then you run 5 for full DM. Get your observers reply as I stated earlier. For homebrew DM, you get the 3 stat blocks all cooked up, and then you pop in a request, and you're all set.
So theoretically, one could go, as long as one is a full GM, one could just, before even their next game, give the list of the 3 monsters trial and become a homebrew DM as well? Or
I'm
do you
sorry,
need 5 G? Do you need, how many games do you need as a full GM before you're allowed to try being a homebrew GM? Is it 5?
-5.
Or is
You only need
-5?
5
Oh,
5 games as a DM total. Like as a trial,
okay.
yeah, you can be a homebrew trial DM. There are, I believe,
Okay.
15 or 16 on the server. Yeah, 16 because Jay got full DM, so it's down to 15. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, the full stuff on that. For those stuff, requirements for full DM tag applications: have no open PR warnings, be an approved trial DM, and have run 5 or more sessions on the server. For homebrew tag, the exact same thing. The full application is in there. When in doubt, sounds a little arrogant. Search for from 149 Thomas, find the thing you want, format them like I do. Just don't go back like before like May, because I had no idea what the hell I was doing before May. But since then, everything I've done has been like formatted properly and like ready to go. But when in doubt, find stuff that is done. Toria is another good one. Jean is another good one. Basically, any of the DMs that are also on staff typically make very few to 0 errors on the requests and are a good standpoint to yoink and twist. Just copy and paste, swap all the links out for your links, yada yada yada. Good setup. Yeah. Is there any questions on either of those? Alrighty. The Velocigoat. But yes. Next. Alrighty. Is anyone interested in hearing about dynamic lighting, shell setup, NPC setup for monsters, or logs? Alrighty. With that, that comes to the end of my prepared stuff. Is there any questions anyone has regarding anything we talked about, anything we didn't talk about? What you got?
Sunday had a good question in the chat log. If you could step back to that session that you said you ran, and just maybe lead us through, like, for the first time, maybe choosing loot for a specific session. Like if you had the five characters, you can maybe show us how to do generated loot,
Yeah,
step
for
by
sure.
step.
Yeah, give me 1 sec. I will ping the auditors real quick, and just let them know, hey, I'm going to be generating false loot. I'm going to PR downvote them. Auditor.
And you can do that in the loot log, right? Treasure log.
Actually, I can just do it in
Or in
Avray
Avray.
lookup, and then that way I don't need to wake anybody up. So,
Okay.
in the event, we'll just use the hypothetical example of the 5 players APL 8. In the event that I am predetermined that I am rolling loot, my first message will look like this. Rolling player loot for APL 8. 5 players, 5 hours. Then you will do the following command. Player count 5, APL 8. And it will generate those items for you. And you will get the Armor of Balance, Chime of Opening, Qualls Feather Token Whip, Bag of Bounty, and Necklace of Adaptation. When you are rolling loot, there are going to be some that generate, like the Breastplate of Balance, as any medium or heavy armor except hide, or any ranged weapon without the thrown property, or any melee weapon with the two-handed or heavy property. Stuff like that where it doesn't specify what specific item it is. It's like a loot item, but it's not like a hyper-specific item. It can be specified. When it is rolled, you don't need to Kona, I'm gonna kill you. Do not audit or downvote me. You're gonna give me a heart attack. Been so good. Uh, when you are rolling loot, anything that has additional specifications does not need to be specified in treasure log. It is known that it was rolled and therefore can be chosen by the DM. It just needs to be declared by the time you put the session log up. If you, as the DM, do not want to choose, either because you don't want to figure out what gets everybody an item, or because you don't know which person's going to get the item you want the players to choose, you can leave it as any medium or heavy armor except hide if it is rolled, and then whoever gets it can pick. That is entirely allowed. It just has to be declared before it hits the session log. When you are declaring loot, if I were to pick, say, Armor of Balance, I would have to declare loot as half plate of balance or splint armor of balance, and similar stuff. And because when you are predetermining it, you are expected to have picked the loot like 100% fully. Yeah. Give me one sec. Alrighty. If you are looking to drop bonus loot, yes, I'm gonna get to that in a second, Kona. When you are looking to drop bonus loot for a session, you can drop a number up to half of the player count. The player count in this hypothetical is 5. Half of it rounded down is 2. So you would do a very similar setup to the previous one. Rolling player bonus loot for session name APL 8, 5 players, 5 hours. You would do HGen loot player count 2, APL 8. And then once you tab out of the APL 8, it should give you 2 options. And you go to force tier 0 and select true. And when you hit enter, the 2 loot items that are popping up are both tier 0 items. When you are rolling loot, in general, it'll be slightly weaker overall than predetermined loot because the bot tends to, in my experience, pick consumables at roughly a rate of 3 to 1, rather than when predetermining loot, it can go to 1 to 1 of permanence to consumables, and then when rounding gets involved, it goes to consumables. Wonderful. But yes, yeah, you can also with the 3 to 1 split, you can hypothetically roll for this game, the 5 players APL 8. You could roll 5 permanents and then drop 5 permanents because that is what you rolled. You can't roll 5 permanents and then be like, oh, I'm going to declare 5 permanents because I rolled 5 permanent slots. That's not how it works. But yeah, and then Raven, if you hit the HGen loot button, right above your or right next to your name, where it says Raven Shade used HGen loot, it'll give you the full command. So if you need to spam it multiple times, if say for example you were doing the thing to generate like ideas for loot, you can copy and paste from there, and it'll keep the correct formatting for when you retype the command. But that is how you do logs for rolling loot. For doing a split log, yes, correct. Thank you, Kona. Jesus, I cannot spell today. Declaring 2 items. Rolling 3 for player loot for session name. APL 8. 5 players, 5 hours. You will do and you will do say 1x Phoenix plate birding and 3x potions of superior healing, and then slash HGen loot player count 3 APL 8. This is one of the ones that is kind of in a gray area, and I don't want to say anything too authoritatively here because the current situation is likely going to be changing. Currently, there is kind of a quote unquote cheat code where you can declare your maximum number of permanents, roll the remaining loot, and try and get more permanents. That's something the staff teams are not super pleased about, but it is still rules legal, so you can still do it. But it is one that is being discussed and is going to be modified in some way. To my knowledge, now that Kona has pushed out the update where you can force roll consumables, it might be that if you partially declare loot, you have to declare everything to force consumable, in which case you would just use that option. But that is not official yet, and when it is made official, there will be a patch notes notification and a message in DM chat, presumably from Luo or SB, because they're the ones that normally get that info out. But yes, that is how you would do a mixed declaration. For a someone got
Thomas,
a question?
can I ask a question about that?
Go for it.
Yeah, so the reason you would do this is maybe you're thinking, yeah, I have these 2 items that I definitely want to give away as loot,
Mhm.
and then the other ones, I don't really mind what they are. So that's why you would split it. You would
Precisely.
decide on
Yeah.
those top 2, and then just let the thing roll the rest.
Precisely. It's commonly
Okay.
used when you have like a single combat encounter and it's like a boss fight, and you drop the boss's gear and then roll the rest. That is primarily where I see it. But yes, yeah. Or alternatively, hey, I was gonna predetermine all of them. I ran out of fucking time. I'm gonna just roll the rest. And that is also completely an option.
Awesome.
But yeah, you can do it however you want, so long as the rules are not broken. And the current rules are such that You can only declare a number of permanents up to half the player count, with no relation to how many items are being predetermined. So in this hypothetical where we have an APL 8 5-player session, I could declare 2 permanents and then roll 3 loot lines and try to get another permanent to drop an increased number of items.
I see.
Then for declaring loot, I am just going to grab my loot from the marathon would be funny. Item descriptions. Here we are. Here we are. Alrighty. Now, do not expect, either as a player or as a DM, all loot to look like this. This was for my marathon session, where I ran for 24 hours. My loot document alone was 13 pages, and my prep was like 140 hours. It is brain dead to assume that that is something that is repeatable. There's a reason I do these once every 2 months max. But if you go there, you can see I broke down all the items into separate areas where I have all the permanents in one list, all the consumables in a next, the bonus loots later, and the full item descriptions in a thread. If you are utilizing the document and making extensive loot flavoring, it is asked that you make a thread to keep the treasure log from getting, for lack of a better word, polluted with just big walls of text. Unfortunately, this specific one was a wall of text anyway, because I declared 69 loot items, because I am a mature and functioning adult. But yes, where is another one that was done right? Let me find a Toria one. Toria does good logs. Toria. A gene item. Here we are. Gene's good. Here's a falcon one. This one will work. You can also, when you are dropping them as written, you can do what Falcon did, which I just listed, which is a single message, which is just, I gave this thing a cool name. Here's what the item actually is. Cool name, what it actually is, and all of that. When you are predetermining loot, any items that can be any of this type have to be declared when you make the treasure log. So, for example, dropping a weapon of the healing hearth. That's any ranged weapon without the thrown property. So that's shortbow, longbow, crossbows, firearms. When you declare it, you would have to declare it to be, I am dropping 1 musket of the healing hearth, 1 longbow of the healing hearth, yada yada yada. That is one of the big distinctions between rolling and predetermining loot, and is one that trips people up more frequently than others. So I want to make sure I am reiterating that.
So if you declare loot and just pick it off the list, you have to declare every detail of it,
Correct.
including what type of item it is. But if you roll loot, and only if you roll loot, you are allowed to allow the player to pick. This is my understanding.
Yes, asterisk.
Okay.
Technically, so long as it is declared before it hits the treasure log, you are good. And so long as the treasure log hits before the session log hits, you're good. So you can, as a DM, determine, hey, you know what? I'm dropping Phoenix armor, but I don't know who it's going to go to, so I'm just going to leave it undeclared for now. And then when the player picks it, once the loot is distributed, then I'll do the session log or the treasure log and declare it as Phoenix half plate or Phoenix splint barding or whatever.
That seems
Uh,
like too much effort for me, but more power to
yes,
you.
yeah.
But there are staff that don't like it though. They like it when the loot is just determined beforehand, and then the player just picks off that rather than giving them the choice. I like giving them the choice as well. I feel like
Yeah.
it's nicer, but there are people that don't like it.
Yeah, I'm aware there are people that don't like it. The rules don't enforce it, and there's not a conversation in staff chat about it. And until such a point, I'm not going to caution anybody against it because it breaks no rules and it breaks no taboos.
Oh yeah, it's raw here.
Yeah. But yes, yeah, that is a workaround. But when you are predetermining loot, it is honestly just easier to pick. Hey, this is plate armor. Hey, this is a great sword. Hey, this is a longbow. But yeah, does that answer all of the loot questions, or are there any others I can answer?
Let me just do a follow up with that. So if there's spell rot tattoos, and it could be any level one, um, if technically I as a DM should be, if I'm going to predetermine those, I'm going to say this is what I want to use. I should choose what the spells are. But if I just roll it up for the session, I can leave it as any, and then the players can choose what they want it to be, and then we just report it in.
That is
Is that
correct.
right? Am I understanding that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
You can also the same thing as armor. You can predetermine, hey, I'm dropping 3 first level spell rot tattoos. Um, Whoever gets them can pick. And then you just do your your treasure log after you like finish your session and all your players leave the lobby. It's what I did for a while. Uh, then I realized people don't care as much about loot as I thought, and there's a lot of trust that the players have in us as DMs. Um, and they're not going to be mad if you predetermine, hey, this is healing word, or hey, this is speak with animals, especially if it has something to do with the session itself. Um, but yeah, you can, yeah, when you roll it, you can declare it before you drop it of like, hey, I rolled 4 spell route tattoos at 2nd level. There are 2 of mirror image and 2 of upcasted cure wounds, or whatever. Um, or you can let the players choose and declare it either way when you do the session log. Um, when you are predetermining it, once you drop the treasure log, it needs to be predetermined, like fully specced out. Um, so it's up to you how you do it. I have done all 3 methods at some point in time. I am currently in the field of I'm just going to determine everything because that's one of the reasons I ask for access to the player's character sheet. It's not because I don't trust him. It's because I want to drop loot that you don't already have something better. Uh, and yeah, it is just up to personal preference. The big thing is if you're rolling loot, you don't need to determine specifics until session log goes up. If you are predetermining loot, all specifics must be designated when the treasure log goes up. And that is the only restriction on those. Oh yeah, stealth is very correct. Loot can sometimes be very strong and be very swingy. I very highly recommend every single DM on the server have a need before greed home rule. It is not always necessary. We have a lot of phenomenal players, but in a group this big, you will eventually have bad apples, and it is good to have something to point back to as, hey, you signed up for the session, you said you read the house rules, you agreed to them. I'm the DM, I'm invoking need over greed, I'm not letting you take that. I dropped these gauntlets of the dragon for the monk. I don't care that you have a monk at home that could really use them. You're playing a wizard today. You're not getting the monk item.
So that's a really good point, Thomas. I think I realized that I never found an actual like something in the rules that says that you have to let every player choose
Correct.
items by the method people do. You could say you get this item, you get
Yeah.
this item, and you get this item,
Yeah.
and that's how it goes, right?
Yeah. For example, I'm gonna link in my play-by post. What did I call it? All right. Yeah. For example, this is I'm gonna gloat a little bit. This is the dopest fuck gun that I dropped for Coda. And when you follow that message link, it starts with 1x the folly of man, declared for Kona as Gurman Sparrow. I was just like, hey, this goes to Kona. I'm not letting people roll off. I made this item for Kona. It is going to Kona. End of discussion. And the one thing I would recommend as a personal experience, if you're going to determine stuff for players, determine it for all of the players. Or if it's like a backstory session, then declare it for just the declare it for just the person getting the backstory session. No one's going to have an issue with that. But if you're running a general session, like for example my Zobos Wondrous Things play by post, that's not like a backstory session for anybody. So there's no like protagonist. I declared basically every loot item I dropped as this goes to this person, this goes to this person, this goes to this person. And that declaring some items for a couple players only is a good way to build animosity. It's not deserved, but it is an expectable outcome and one that should be planned for. Regardless of whether or not it should be happening in the first place, it is likely enough that it is worth anticipating. Raven, elaborate on that question. I'm not sure I'm understanding it correctly.
Oh, it's not a question. It's saying that they can do that. If like
Oh,
there's
yes.
like 2 3-hour sessions, you can
Yeah.
predetermine one permanent, one consumable for your players if it's like an even number group. So no one gets left out.
The even number group no longer matters. If you roll, if you do a double session and you have 5 players, the rules have been edited. It's now you get 10 loot lines. Up to half of those loot lines can be permanents. You just
It's
have to
10. Okay, that's how it works now.
correct. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier because there are a lot of 3 and 5 man cells that are really
Yeah.
cohesive parties and are phenomenally entertaining to run for. And this makes it such that it is not mechanically less optimal to play in 3 or 5 or 7 player games. And also makes solo
Right.
sessions now like viable. Because if you run for 6 hours in a solo session, you can still drop a permanent. But yeah.
Got rid of the bracket. I didn't know about the 5-man thing change. That was huge.
Yeah,
That
was about 3 weeks ago in patch notes. They did the ping wrong, so it didn't go out to everybody. I just got it because I am staff. And they
okay,
pinged
okay.
the wrong roll on accident. But yeah, yeah. Speaking of multi-session, does anyone want me to go over how multi-session loot tier plus works? Alrighty, I will take that as a no. This concludes all the structured stuff I have. Are there any questions from anybody? I'm going to take that as a note as well. Thank you all for coming.
I've got one more,
One more.
if
What
if
you
you
got?
wouldn't mind. Sorry.
You're good.
So
I got
on
another
that
hour.
topic, okay, I don't want to take it all, but on that topic, if I know there is something about if we have a session that was intended to run, say, 3 hours, and we find that it's tipped over into maybe 4.5.
Uh-huh.
What do we do with that? Do we just count it a 4.5 hour session, or do we have to just kind of report it as a 3 hour and then a partial session? Can you clarify
Yes.
what we do with that?
So you don't split sessions until you hit 6 hours.
Okay.
So sessions have a maximum time of 5.5 hours. Once you pass 6 hours, you cut off at 3 and you continue onwards. So, for example, a 7.5 hour session would be 2 sessions. You can split it however you like. I generally just find it's easiest to chop it off at 3 hours. But as the DM, and I've confirmed this a couple times because I've done this a couple times, you can ask, hey, does anyone level up at like 3.5 hours or 4 hours, and declare the first part to be 4 hours if people level up after that, and then whatever's left over is the second part.
Okay. I can see that. So because they're going to be getting experience for the 4 hours, maybe leveling up. So cut it off there, and then do the second half as the 3 hours. Okay, that makes sense.
That is a little more
Great.
complicated and is not at all required, but it is something that is under your purview as a DM, and it is something that not everybody knows, and that is kind of the whole purpose of this workshop, so I felt like I should mention it.
Awesome. Thanks.
No problem. Alrighty. Anyone else got any other questions? Oh yeah. Players that leave midway. Yeah, it's a good point, Stealth. So, as DMs, occasionally shit happens. Family emergency, food poisoning, tornado, Godzilla attacks. They want to go home. Any of those are acceptable reasons for them to leave your game. Everything here is voluntary, the same way us running games is voluntary, them participating in games is voluntary. If a player backs out for any reason, the loot is fully up to you. This is one of the ones where it's going to get a little more into the weeds and a little more complicated. But I will use my play-by-post as an example. I am looking at most likely somewhere in the realm of 24 to 26 scenes, which means roughly 12 to 13 hours of voice stuff, which means 4 sessions. I unfortunately had a player drop out. They went dark. They stopped responding for about a week. I reached out via DMs. They did not respond. We took a vote with the remaining players and we continued on. That was about at the halfway point, and as such, I am considering them having been present for part 1 and 2 of the session and absent for part 3 and 4. During that, fortunately, my APL was not affected because I dropped level 5 player and my APL was 6, and it was like upper, like it was about to be APL 7, so it dropped down to like lower APL 6. So for part 1, I get 5 loot lines. For part 2, I get 5 loot lines. For part 3, I get 4 loot lines. because Carson is no longer there. And for part 4, I get 4 loot lines because Carson is no longer there. Because this as a total results in 18 lines of permanence. I can declare up to 9 permanents, and the rest must be consumables, or just not be loot. You also don't have to declare every loot item. For example, there's a multi-session I'm running as a backstory session for one of my friends. They don't know this. I'm not dropping any physical loot. It's going to be like a 9-hour total session. They're getting 1 item each, and it's a supernatural gift. Because what they're doing, it makes no sense for them to get like physical loot. They're in fucking Elysium. No one's giving you swords. They're giving you blessings. But like, I am dropping a total of 5 loot items out of a potential total of 15. That is 100% within your purview. You do not have to fill every loot line. And in this example, I have 15 loot lines, which means I can drop up to 7 permanents. It doesn't matter that the fact that I'm dropping 5 items and all 5 are permanents. What matters is the fact that the session as a whole resulted in 15 lines. I can drop up to 7 permanents, and I'm just choosing not to drop the rest of it. But when a player leaves midway, you can, at your discretion, consider them have been present for none of it, been present for whatever the nearest half hour was when they left, or consider them present if they left like 20 minutes early and it wasn't like a disrespectful thing. It was like hey, I'm really sorry, I gotta go. Like the session ran late and they were like staying as late as they could, but they had like other obligations. You can just say they were there the whole time. And what I normally do with stuff like that is they just, because they had to leave early, they get stuck with whatever loot item is left. But yeah, stuff like that is fully up to your discretion, so long as it is within reason. My general recommendation, round to the nearest half hour, function them being there. Yeah, is there anything else anyone would like me to go over? Anything I covered for the general server stuff? Anything I covered for player side? Anything I covered for DM side? Anything I didn't touch on at all? You guys want to do a CR calculation? You guys want to write a session log? I got another hour. If you guys have stuff you need, I'm here to do it. If not, we can all go to bed.
Got a question, boss. It's on the chat. How do end of works function? Asking for a friend.
That's fucking DM.
What's that supposed to mean?
So-
What did I do? I'm asking, genuinely asking a question, and literally, it's fucking dead. Wow.
So first off, Dean, you lament the fact that you just couldn't roll better. Like skill issue at this point.
What do you mean? I didn't even roll death saves for that. That was just the goddamn enemy rolling me 220s in a row. Damn.
You're
How
gonna
is that
tell
on
me
me?
you're gonna tell me rolling the 68 on a 66.6 is not fate.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Alrighty. That is a great question. One I should probably know the answer to. Let's consult the Hawthorne Bible. I mean the allowed content. To submit for an end of the road rework, contact an auditor and bear in mind the following. An end of the road rework requires the approval of the DM that ran the adventure. So for your case, Miss Clang, if the terminal event occurred in text RP or due to guild action, such as being expelled from the guild, the lore team can act as the DM. For that purposes, your go-to would be any full lore consultant, or most likely Gene, the lore admin. Any gold,
I don't
magic
think
items,
he
or
got
treasure that may be lost from the mal sheet are determined by the DM. The gold cost of reversing the consequence is added to the rework cost. For example, 25,000 GP for true resurrection to cure vampirism. After confirming with the DM and you, an auditor will log the rework in character rework log if it is approved. So your process would be to message Miss Klang and then partner with an auditor, let him know, hey, I spoke to Miss Klang. I went down in a session of his today and I was killed. Here is the death log. Here is the session log. I'm working with him. I would like to do an end of the road rework. Um,
So I got the part where I have to talk to Miss Clang, and I was wondering if I'm allowed to do an a la carte rework, so I get to keep the level and the other resources on Mr. Chance's end, such that I do not have to deal with will and trading and all that shenanigans. And then I'm gonna
that
make a new PC entirely out of the end of
hmm.
the road. That's the part where I got confused from.
So I am going to give you a skeptical answer. I am pretty confident that I am correct on this, but I will caveat this with I am not 100% sure, and I am not saying this as an official thing. Talk to an auditor. My
Oh
understanding
yeah,
is the description says using one of the rework options above to rework a PC that can no longer be played due to death or another reversible circumstance, such as lycanthropy or vampirism from an adventure, as subject to the DM's discretion. A la carte reworks are all above the end of the road rework. I see no reason why they would organize it that way if that was not intended. However, the only ones I have been privy to are ones that I have been a consulting DM on, and those have all been character consolidations, or not character consolidations. What is it? The fuck is it called? Checkpoint rework.
Oh, I wanted to keep him as level
Yes.
8. That's the
Yeah.
thing that I'm
I
confused by because there's
yeah. I would
the
assume
new
you would be
ones.
able to do so. I just am
Hmm.
not 100% sure because I have not seen it done. But my understanding of the rules would say that would be no problem. I would just recommend you check with an auditor.
Yep, that's what
Uh,
I'm working with. Just
uh,
ask the tiers. Might
uh,
as well.
I believe uh, it's middle of the goddamn night. Or no, it's early morning for him. Rat's probably awake.
I'm still cooking on what I'm gonna be making for a PC, and I need a dwarf name from Turtle, and he hasn't responded yet. So I'm in no rush. I just
For
wanted
sure.
to a
Uh,
question, so at least I have some active participation in this tax evasion. No, I mean very valuable new player workshop because I'm a new player after all.
I mean, yeah, you've only been in 4 sessions.
Yeah, and I've only been here in like 4 months,
4 days.
surprisingly. I'm exactly 4 months, 4 months old for a Hawthornian.
Yeah. Alrighty. Are there anyone else that has any questions? Anything else I can help you guys with? Alrighty. If there's nothing else, I'm gonna go ahead and call this closed. It was lovely meeting you all. It was lovely seeing some of the rest of you, uh, except for you, Dean. Um,
Wow. Wow. I hate seeing you too, Thomas.
uh, but yeah,
This was great. Thank you.
no problem.
Yeah.
There will likely be more of these in the future. It will likely not be all me. Ravenshade was here as my lovely assistant and as an understudy for doing this in the future, as he is also a community guide. The goal is between the 8 of us to have at least one workshop a week. and we're also roping in some other more experienced DMs to assist with these as well. The recording of this will also be uploaded to the Guild YouTube. Don't know how that's going to work. I've not tried that before. We'll fucking see how it goes. But yes, um, if you guys are good to go, go ahead and drop in the 149 Thomas text lobby how long you were here for, and